my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesomest homesteading channel on the entire planet that has nothing to do with homesteading off the grid. Can you hear the rain? I'm so glad that I've got this project I've been working on for about a week now. I'm clearing out the undergrowth of our 3 acres worth of meadow that we let reforest because it's now kind of like becoming a forest. So I'm thinning it out. That's where I'm sitting today. You can actually see through the forest now into our apple orchard back here. Our house is down there. But it gives me a place to stay out of the rain when it drizzles like this. But look at all the forest I've cleared so far. You see my brush piles? That's our main trail. So I've cleared, give you a 360. Cleared over there. It's fun. It's not hard work. You can tell you're doing something though. So anyway, I wanted to come out and share a story with you. This one was submitted from a viewer like you. Maybe it's you. They asked that I keep them anonymous, so I'm not going to let you know who they are. This is going to be, of course, in True Hauntings Volume 5, which we are now in the process of doing final edits. So it's coming very soon. Trust me. I've been saying that for more than a year since Volume 4 came out, but trust me. So with no further ado, as my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, would say, I'm going to get right to it. Oh yeah, I was going to say, if you've got a story, if you can get it in within the next few days, there's still room for Volume 5. Email it to us at crazylake@mail.com. crazylake@mail.com. Give us your permission to use the story however we feel. Read it on the channel like this and get it in a book. So this one is called The Wandering Ghost. Again, submitted anonymously. Your ghost stories on today's video jarred my memory of a wandering ghost who came to my house. You may use this story, edit it, etc. any way you see fit, but please keep my name out of it. I have lived in a small, quiet condo in the mountains of the desert Southwest for about 16 years. My town is small but fairly modern, so about the only ghosts one would expect to see are the Native American or Old West settlers. It is fairly common to see both, especially on full moon nights, when the veil thins and portals to other dimensions open. We have crazy ley lines running through here as well, as you might suspect. I'm going to sidebar here just for a second. Yeah, get my 6. You never know what the heck's in here. It's going to be harder for them to hide from us now that we're clearing this out. Full moons. I remembered something I wanted to share with you. As of this recording, it's towards the end of July. This past weekend, we had a beautiful full moon. Something caught my eye on the internet as far as the full moon's name. It was called the buck moon. And I always like to read those to see where those names came from, like the harvest moon in like August or September. Of course, that's because of the last full moon at the end of the harvest. The people would harvest. They could harvest even through the night when the moon was full because they had the light. It's time to take the crops in from the fields. But the buck moon is the name of the full moon, which occurs in July. And the reason they call it the buck moon is because I didn't know this. And I used to be a very avid deer hunter many years ago, growing up in Appalachia. Adult male deer's antlers, the adult male deers, of course, being known as bucks, peak as far as their growth goes in the end of July. So you know that bucks lose their horns every year. They grow new ones back. That's as big as they're going to get. So they're as big as they're going to get right now. Now they still have velvet on them, and the bucks, of course, will start destroying our trees by rubbing the velvet off during August, September, and in October, November, of course, to mark their territory during the rut. And then what else was there here? Oh, ley lines. It's interesting you mentioned ley lines because there's one on my property, couple actually, and they cross. And I knew that one of them ran right through this meadow that we let grow over into forest to reforest. Now I'm going through and thinning it out. No trees grew on that ley line. Look, you see how there's some weeds back here and there's still some berries? That's because no trees grew there to drown the sun out, and those weeds were still able to come up. And that ley line runs all the way through this upper portion of the meadow. And so I was kind of shocked when I cut my way into the center of this thing to see that no trees grew on the ley line. How creepy is that? All right, on with this story. My condo has had plenty of otherworldly visitors, seen not only by myself but also friends who stayed here. Although it happens, I wouldn't call it haunted. It's more like a place that's easy for spirits to access temporarily. There are usually 2 cats with me. They are always looking around at things I can't see, and if something is bad, they let me know quickly by jumping between me and whatever it is and growling, guarding me, their meal ticket, I presume. I presume that you are correct. Well, I was going to tell you something about animals, dogs and cats, pets. Listen, you're going to hate me, especially you dog owners, dog people. There's this guy. He's on YouTube. He's hilarious. His name is Peter Kane, dog trainer. Yeah, I found him because years ago people used to leave messages saying that I reminded them of a younger and not foul-mouthed version of him, because I guess he's a little bit older than me and he cusses a lot in his videos. So I watched him, and he does kind of remind me of myself. The guy's hilarious, but he actually is a professional dog trainer. And I listened to him in a video say once that if you think your dog loves you, you're just stupid, because your dog doesn't love you. Your cat doesn't love you. Your cat seems affectionate, or your dog seems affectionate towards you because you are the one who, you're the meal ticket. You're the one that feeds the animal. So it's like Pavlov's dog. You know, whereas Pavlov's dog's mouth would water when they heard the bell because they knew food was coming. Your dog gets excited when they see you because they associate you with food. That's what a professional dog trainer said. So, hate him, not me. But go check out some of his videos. He's got one where he dissects a Bigfoot. He's got one. Oh, he's got several Bigfoot videos. You ought to, again, Peter Kane. I think it's Caine. Just type in Peter Kane Bigfoot. You'll find him. The guy's hilarious. All right, on with this story. One night, after I put the cats to bed in their room, I was awakened by someone coming in the front door. I live alone, so that should not have been happening. Startled, I jumped up, ripped open the bedroom door, and saw a very thin black man coming down the hall. I yelled, "Get the F out of my house," and he excitedly ran towards me. I slammed the bedroom door in his face and had to push hard to keep it closed as he was trying hard to open it while pleading to be let in. He sounded desperate. I kept yelling at him to leave. "Please, let me in," he begged. "It's Ernie from the railroad." Finally, I was able to get the door locked and told him to go away. He rather dejectedly agreed, and I heard him walk back down the hall and out the front door. I ran out to lock the door, which was unlocked despite my having locked it, before I went to bed. My heart was still pounding as I walked back into my bedroom and closed and locked the door. Then I turned towards my bed, wondering if I'd be able to get back to sleep, only to discover that I was already in bed and asleep. So I got back into my body, which took a mere fraction of a second, opened my physical eyes, then went back to sleep. This was not a dream. It was what we call astral travel 4D, or lucid dreaming, because it happens while we are asleep. Cats spend most of their time in 4D, in case you didn't know. Well, I'm going to have to ask Peter Kane about that. Well, after that, Ernie came back several times, trying to get my attention while I was awake by banging on the wall, tapping a drum, flickering the lights, etc. All that would stop as soon as I told him to knock it off. Frustrated, I asked a friend to help me find out what Ernie wanted. So he jumped on the phone with me one night when Ernie was particularly noisy and asked. It got quiet. Ernie told him he had been killed accidentally when working on the railroad. A flatbed car had a load of iron rails on it, and the ties had broken while he was standing there, killing him instantly. That was in the 1880s, and he had been wandering lost ever since. He was walking by my place when he saw my light and ran over, hoping to find help. Of course we would help. Calling in the archangels, Ernie was suddenly surrounded by light. This confused and frightened him until we told him those angels had come to take him home to our source creator God. That made Ernie very happy, and he left, smiling ear to ear. No more bumps in the night from Ernie from the railroad, and I got a heart full of warm fuzzies for helping him. The end. anonymous. Again, submitted anonymously. Some people will think you're crazy if you talk about these things, especially if you claim to have a personal experience with something like this. So there's a lot of private people. There's a lot of successful people, educated professional types who could possibly lose their jobs if it were known that they're claiming to have seen ghosts or Bigfoot, Sasquatches, or whatever. So if you have a story but you don't want to be outed, submit it to us. We'll read it anonymously. Or if you don't mind people knowing who you are, if you're in the over 50 club and you don't care WTF anyone thinks, tell us your name, give us permission to use it. We'll do that when we share your story here on the channel and in an upcoming True Hauntings volume. So I hope you're well. Thank goodness as of this recording that heat wave is past. I see a little bunny rabbit up there hopping around on the ley lines. Maybe that's why there's no trees there. Maybe that's like the main highway for all the rabbits that we have living around here. You see these piles of brush? They'll just, be scattered throughout. Oh, that was a leaf falling. I thought it was a Bigfoot jumping out of a tree at me. But perfect rabbit habitat. I went out yesterday afternoon to make a reel for the Instagram account. And by the way, thank you. We got 10,000 subscribers on Instagram in only 3 weeks. Started the Instagram 3 weeks ago, and we're already at 10,000 subscribers. So that's wonderful. And I know it's because a lot of you went over there and followed the Sick Twisted Humor Instagram page, just like you follow the Sick Twisted Humor Facebook page. So anyway, I went out to make a reel to upload on Instagram. Those little one minute long jokes I tell. And there were 3 rabbits in one spot in my yard, just in one spot. I'll get on Piglet, my little 200cc mini bike I ride around here in the evenings. I'll see at least 6 rabbits every time I do a loop. And they're so familiar with us, they don't even run anymore. So it's all good. We talk to them. So here's some behind the scenes stuff. I mentioned the silly 1 minute jokes I tell. I'll tell you a couple. Get this. I have told literally over 2,000 unique jokes on the Facebook page, Sick Twisted Humor, and they're all 1 minute or less. And I'm now basically duplicating that process on Instagram with great success. It's wonderful. It's another income stream for when these social media platforms get finicky and want to shadow ban you or decide, because maybe you say something not even necessarily political, but maybe political leaning against the views of the platform controllers, and so they'll shadow ban you. You didn't violate their policies, so they're not going to monetize you or give you a strike, but they just won't let your followers know that you just published new content. They've done it here because I won't e-bag. I don't ask you to send super chats, so they shadow ban me here. But that's okay because this is one of like 15 income sources for us because we're big into the multiple streams of income thing. I've never viewed just having a job with one paycheck as like safe. Because on any given day, you can go to that job and be told you're no longer needed. Even if you've been there a long time, and especially if you've been there a long time. A lot of the boomers found that out. They were coming up on their 30 year, going to get a pension, and they were let go at year 28 because they could hire 2 or 3 millennials for the price they were paying the high income earning boomer, So anyway, here's the deal. This is about jokes. It's funny. I've told over 2,000 jokes that are unique. They're not the same. And I can never just think of a joke. And so here's something I use as a prompt. Like if somebody says, hey, tell me a joke, or I'll say to them, okay, state a noun. Well, state a noun. Well, I'll say rabbit because I just saw the rabbit, right? It just came to my mind because the rabbit was over there. This is how it works. Then my mind will just immediately remember a joke that has a rabbit in it. To prove it to you, I'll tell it to you right now. So this guy was driving down the road one day, and a rabbit ran out in the road right in front of him, and he tried to swerve to miss it, but he didn't. He hit it. He thought, oh no. So he got out to check on it, and sure enough, the rabbit was dead. Well, he's one of these new age beta male types, big softy. So he starts crying, because he's in touch with his softer side. And so he's standing there by the road crying, That's not really part of the joke, like taking a stab at beta males. But I don't have to say it in a minute or less on here, so I can ad lib, get shadow banned again maybe. So he's standing there crying, you know, not like a sissy, but like a non-male ego-driven individual who's in touch with his softer side. So he's standing there crying. And so this woman pulls up behind him and stops and gets out of her car. And she goes over, she says, you know, because she's a strong, independent woman. She's going over there to protect this beta male. What's wrong, sir? Can I be of assistance of any kind? Assistance. And he says, oh, I just hit this rabbit. I killed this rabbit. And he keeps crying. He's talking about how, you know, he's going to have to go see a therapist over this. So she goes, oh, no, don't worry. I've got just the thing. So she goes to her car and she comes back with like an aerosol can. And she's shaking it up and she sprays it all over the rabbit. Well, this rabbit just jumps up and it starts hopping away. But then it turns around and it waves. It turns back around, hops about 10 or 12 more hops, turns around and it waves again. And it repeats this process until it's out of sight. The guy says, what is that? And he grabs the can from her and he reads it. And it says, hairspray. Restores dead hair, plus adds permanent wave. Yeah, 850,000 followers on Sick Twisted Humor, because I can tell the short version of that in less than a minute, and I've done it 2,000 different times, different jokes, and now we're doing the same thing on Instagram. Thanks for your support over there. But that's just some behind the things. People are like, how do you remember so much? You write up to 10,000 words a day. You edit. You read 10 books a month. You're now doing very well on 3 social media platforms. And then plus you coach and you're doing all this stuff. And you work out because you're a professional amateur athlete. How do you just recall stuff from your head? There's so much in there. Man, I'll tell you, I tried to see a head shrink once. I couldn't get through the door. I was like, and the shrink's like, I'll try from this side, trying to shrink my head. I couldn't even get in there. So I just came on home and let nature be my shrink. Have to clear the undergrowth out for the head, you know, all the stuff in it. But that's how. State a noun. Yep. Give me a noun and I'll think of a joke associated with that noun. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's story, today's joke, the information about the buck moon and the ley lines and whatnot. So, again, send us your stories if you got them. crazylake@mail.com. See you for more next time for the most awesomest homesteading channel on the entire planet that ain't got nothing to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid.